Hey, Soul Survivors. So I see a lot of you are searching about the new supply, also about the Hoover. Is it going to happen when all these kind of things? So we have to remember it is October right now. We are going into narc season where narcissists start to get more agitated. You had the evil component of Halloween, also with all the holidays coming up, possibly birthdays in between. There's a lot of commotion and kind of a need to attend to other people, whether it's the birthday party or the holiday, compromise, finances, all these kind of things, sacrificing your money so you can get gifts, all those things. Or even just the narcissist, maybe they spend $100 and you spent 50 on them, so they're going to be upset because they feel entitled to a special treatment. So as far as the new supply, um, we have to remember not to keep comparing ourselves. Sometimes a narcissist will downgrade. Sometimes it's just a different supply or they have more of it. So are they going to come back? A lot of times they do just when they want their ego stroked. Maybe something's not going so well with the new supply. And if you watch all these different self-aware narcissists, that they will actually say, yeah, I don't have empathy or I lack it. And I was watching this one murder case, and the guy had some antisocial personality, kind of psychopath, sociopath type traits. And he had ended up murdering his ex-girlfriend because she wanted to get back together with him. So be careful. These kinds of people can be extremely dangerous and lack the empathy. So, of course, he's lying to the cops. And eventually his current girlfriend kind of spills the beans. So he was able to be honest about some of the facts, but not the true facts that gave accountability to him. So he kind of let them know that he was at the scene, but there's all these missing pieces of evidence. And that's what drives you crazy. That's what makes it to where you can't form the true picture. So we're not detectives. And it was interesting hearing him talk. He was a younger kid, about, I don't know, 18 or so, but he was talking with his father and he was in an agitated state. So, of course, he replays these things. And they do think about it sometimes, depending on how down the spectrum they are. But he was upset with his father, saying that this is the only time that I feel love. Like it had to take this. Like I'm the one that held the family together. And the father's like, you are a part of this family. He's like, well, it doesn't feel like it. And the father ends up feeling terrible. Like I messed up and I'm sorry. And so as you can see, it goes back onto the murderer and the attention. But in my head, I was seeing that um they are needy, and when you are trying to work something out with them, he didn't care that he was making his father feel horrible. The father is the one that's apologizing. And, we all have certain parts that we play within these relationships, but the toxic person is the one that's always going to be the one that receives the attention. So when you're going to counseling or trying to work through things, you're going to be the one apologizing. Or when you do express what is going on in your thoughts, they're going to be dismissed. Just like the father, you are a part of this family. Well, it doesn't feel like it. As opposed to, I know, I'm hurting right now. So it's always back at you. So working through things, unless you just let it go, and that's where we start to feel empty inside or drained, is because the narcissist just takes. And they also don't give us the full picture. So when you're trying to figure things out and you're like, well, he said, I should have had a better job, something like that, or I gained too much weight. These are all excuses. If somebody loves you, they love you. And like with a narcissist or a toxic person, they will cut you down. They will give you whatever reason. It doesn't even mean it's the real reason. It could be, I have a wandering eye. I was interested in the other person. That is honesty, even if that honesty hurts. but they don't give you the honesty. So trying to figure out what happened, uh, it's never the narcissist saying, well, I fell out of love or I was tempted by somebody else. It's you did this wrong, your body, this, that, as opposed to I am attracted to thinner or heavier people. So it's always to where it cuts down your self-esteem. Now, the new supply, sometimes they just might be easier access, to where they don't keep tabs or don't expect accountability. Also, in the beginning, too, we seem to be a little more trusting of people. And the new supply just hasn't seen what the narcissist is capable of. So when I was watching that murder, you could see um, times where the murderer was, you know, somewhat apologetic, but they didn't take the accountability. Um, they also got physically violent, so be really careful on the physical violence. And like I said, they made up certain uh, answers to the question, but when you really get into it, you start to see that it wasn't the shovel, it was a knife. And it was interesting to see the current girlfriend, the way she was talking. She's just, yep, yep, yep. She's given all the answers. Like, yeah, we did this. You could see in her face. She also didn't incriminate herself until later, where she's like, yeah, I gotta tell this. But with the new supply, though, don't compare yourself to the new supply. Just don't do that. Because, people I've been with in the past would like comment, I'm pretty thin, but would comment, after I lost like 8 pounds, like, why couldn't you have done this when we were together? So supposedly I'm like the hottest woman in the world. I gained 2 pounds, but then they say that I'm too thin. So I'm even heavier than when by 2 pounds. It's about the same thing, but the same person is you look great now, and then it's like you're too skinny, but it's the same weight, if not even a little bit more. And then they end up with somebody quite a bit heavier. So these are just excuses. They're going to be with whoever they're going to be with. So, trying to change yourself is not the way to go about it. We have to accept, what is. We also have to really look at ourselves like, why are we willing to take this person back? Part of that is to avoid processing our feelings, to feel that hurt, to feel that we were betrayed. And when we start going through the feelings that we need to go through, that's where the lesson is for us. So did you deserve it? No. But there are lessons on how to look for red flags, maybe a lesson in when to leave. Also, how to vet a person. And I know that I'd like you guys to check out in my bio, there's a link to my new community. And I was replying to the way that we can avoid a lot of problems. So the person in the school community, skool.com, a soul survivor, let me know if you're interested. It's free. I'll drop you a link. But they said something about expectations. And there's this tricky part to expectations where when we start expecting certain things and they're not met, that we feel let down. So, how do we avoid this letdown feeling? We just need somebody who's authentically willing to show up with the same moral code or the same relationship goals that we expect. And it's really hard with a narcissist in the beginning. They're calling you every morning. You're like, this is what I need. This is what I love. This makes my day start out the right way, all those kind of things. But then they start changing things. And when you bring it up, you're a neg, you're all these horrible things. So we need somebody who is genuinely in it for the long haul, in it to be consistent. If they start fading away from that to where we feel confident in the whole aspect of the relationship that we can talk about it, like, hey, are we able to continue that? And But the narcissist will turn it around on you. They won't comfort you like, oh, I'm really sorry, I've been running late. I got all this extra work I've been doing, but I will make this time for you. As opposed to, there you go, nagging. And it's just like these little shifts. And when we're comparing ourselves to the new supply, we are kind of beating ourselves up. We're feeling like we're not good enough. And also searching the social media of your narcissist or the new supply, that we start kind of giving ourselves like some jealousy type issues where we are hurt that they didn't do certain things with us. A lot of times, the narcissist will take the new supply on the trip that you had suggested. They'll start doing family things when they didn't do family things with you. And it's mind blowing to where we start to internalize it or make it personal, realize that that's part of the game. They realize it really sucks because they realize what would have worked, and so they, instead of applying it to your relationship, they don't like the fact that we try to keep them accountable or we even ask questions. A lot of times, some of our questions are even um, innocent. We're not trying to start chaos. They blame us and say that's what we're doing, but we're like, hey, did you have pizza for lunch today? And you're only asking, let's say you saw a car that you thought it was them and you're like, oh, did you have pizza today? And then they're like, why? And you can't just have normal conversations. And then they start to beat you down and accuse you of things. And, with the cognitive dissonance that we go through, it starts causing brain damage. That's where we're the lesser of two evils. And sometimes the lesser of two evils in our heart is to just, get back with them. Maybe then things will be okay. It's almost like when you hurt your foot, it's your foot that's causing pain. So you want to tend to the foot, but we're separated. The narcissists cause the pain, but we're separated now. So to fix it, we have to fix the separated part, not the thing that hurt us, not the nail that we stepped on. We're not together anymore. So it's not fixing what is what hurt us. We have to fix what is damaged, and that's us. They messed with our mind. They messed with our lives. Now we might have to start over, change our finances, get a new job, babysitter, start with new friends because they left us abandoned. And we have to realize that, we have so much self-worth. And instead of hoping and putting our lives on hold, if you still have this hope, will a narcissist change? They're not going to change right now. So the best advice I have is to get on with your life. If they go through this revelation without you, like, I really screwed this person over and I need to change, they're not going to go through that if they get taken back so quickly. I promise you that. And also their commitment. Are they willing to change and give it time? Or are they going to just be like, I need instant gratification or it's not worth it? So the narcissist goes through cycles. The new supply might be happy now. They're in that love bombing stage, but they go through the same cycle. So if the narcissist pops up on your door, did they change? Are they committed, or is it just a downtime for them? It's amazing how many self-aware narcissists will say, I can't be alone. I can't be alone. They don't like getting lost in their thoughts. So they're either going to start drinking or do extracurricular stuff to keep their mind busy. Um, And I would encourage you guys to join this community. The reason I will want to bring that to you is because sometimes we're lonely, sometimes we're isolated, sometimes we just need support. So I've been teaching online. I quit my job to deal with this new community, but I had posted a couple classes and nobody signed up. So I'm just like, I'm not going to do it. Well, I get an email today. Hey, do you have this class available? And I put out a schedule, a full schedule. If you'd like your kids to learn some cool classes, let me know. But sometimes just that one little spark, that one little motivation, that one little, hey, I'd like I'd like to utilize you, to have you available. We'll put it that way. In this community, you'll have that motivation. So I would have just given up. I'm just kind of in that mindset where I'm like, I just don't want the hassle. Like, I just don't. I just don't. But it's like, you know what? It is fulfilling when I teach. It does feel good. And we have ups and downs, different seasons in our life. So I'm kind of in the winter right now, where I'm really burnt out. I've been doing too much. So one thing I'm doing for myself is starting a schedule. So that's going to definitely help. But the new supply is just like a placeholder, and they'll enjoy it for a while. I think about that girl that was murdered, you know, they don't care. They don't care. Maybe a little, but because the other thing he said too that was interesting is, so basically she's dead and he was going to cover her up. So he thought that the body would decompose quicker without clothes on. So he started trying to take her clothes off and the cops are like, but her sweater was still on. He had said something about, it sounded like the groin area, that he was going to cover it up out of respect for her. He killed her. He's disrobing her, but he's not going to let her pubic region out because he respects her. So, yes, that's respectful to cover that. But when you look at the big picture, it is such flawed and skewed and evil thinking. So, piece by piece, there are good things. He's respectful. He was going to cover her groin area. He's a respectful man. Let's look at the big picture. This is what we start doing with the cognitive dissonance. We take those little pieces. He's respectful. He would have covered her groin area. But we're not looking at the big picture. If you add everything up, he is not a respectful person. So when we're looking at our narcissist, realize we have to start looking at the big picture. So please consider that group where sometimes it's just that little spark of motivation to get you through the day, helps keep you accountable, also builds a friendship. And I will see you in the next video. Topic requests are always welcome, and I hope this was helpful. I know it's hard.